Okay, this is day 22, 6/18/2011. State witness Dr. William Rodriguez. He gave his educational and employment background, works at the Department of Defense in Washington, D.C. as a forensic anthropologist. He was a co-founder of the Body Farm in Tennessee with Dr. William Bass. He said he has testified more than 100 times in various courts. One thing I really want to be put out there real quick. A lot of the stuff the defense has been putting out there at first is either A, recalling state witnesses, or B, it's been very boring. Quite honestly, I've been sitting here. This is why it's taken me so long to catch up and then to redo my videos. Like right now, I'm on day 26, which is 6/23. I'm only a couple days behind on watching it. But it's just so tedious to go through it and watch it all because it has been very boring. Asked to be accepted as a forensic anthropologist, forensic entomologist, and something else I cannot pronounce. Jeff Ashen asked to voir dire. Judge accepted him as an expert in all three fields. Dr. Rodriguez said that the evidence collection at the scene was very thorough when it came to the skeleton. Jury's asked to leave. Jeff Ashen, no opinion given in a report about duct tape. Judge Perry says it appears to him this was not a slip-up. It was quite intentional. Case law indicates the following: contempt, an instruction to the jury concerning the violation, and let them use it to judge in the credibility and believability. This witness can step down. Deposition be taken Tuesday or that day or Saturday, and we will recess at 1:30. The state can draft up an instruction for the jury, and he will entertain it. He may bring contempt charges on Baez at the end of the trial. So basically, they screwed up. They wanted this Dr. Rodriguez to testify, and he did not put certain things in his opinion for the court and for the state. Cheney Mason asked Judge Perry to instruct something to the jury about change of witness. Judge tells jury, we're going to take another witness. Dr. Rodriguez will be back on Monday. We're going to accommodate another witness who's from out of town. Defense witness called Dr. Warner Spitz. Cheney Mason asks the question. Medical doctor, forensic specialist, pathology, goes through educational background, has published books and articles, has testified in U.S. courts, all 50 states including Hawaii and Alaska, and as well as foreign countries, has testified approximately 300 times, accepted as an expert in forensic pathology, first contacted by Jose Baez law firm. First request was to be present. His first request was to be present at the post-mortem examination autopsy with Dr. G and was denied. The reason because it was useful to see the body at that particular time so he would have the same exposure to the body as the pathologist in his or her official capacity. There's also an advantage having two people in the same field look things over together. 4 eyes see more than 2 eyes, and able to discuss the findings on and in the body at the time of the examination. Now this guy, I mean, this was just really quite a hoot. I don't even know how to explain this guy. I really don't. This was just one of those things that, anywho. He states it's also custom in forensic pathology and pathology. He conducted a second autopsy. In his opinion, he said the autopsy had not been completed. He said autopsy had not been completed because Kaylee's skull had not been opened. He took photographs of the autopsy. Now let me tell you something. There was just skeletons. Dr. G went through everything, even taking pictures, unflipping the skull upside down, and taking pictures and cleaning it out with saline and all that good stuff to see if there was anything in there. To degrade that little girl any further was beyond words that can express this. At this time, Casey looks disgusted about discussion of the skull and how to open it. Shows jury a blown-up version of his photos and autopsy. There was dust in the skull from brain that iron and stuff like that leave. Casey trying to cry during testimony about brain and skull. From his analysis, the skull was on the left side and a little bit up, meaning it was laying on the left side. He used no gloves, no apron, no nothing when he did his examination of Caylee remains. Now, the defense has been trying to slam the state's people for making sure they wore gloves, this and this and this. He said the reason why he didn't see any issue not wearing it, or he didn't wear it, was because it was just bones. He has a problem with the duct tape being on face because when skin decomposing, the tape would have fallen off. He feels it was placed on after decomp to hold the jawbone intact. Casey is crying and wiping barely there tears. If duct tape would have been placed on face, there would have been DNA on duct tape. You can rule out some cause of death, but not all. There are 4 manners of death: natural, suicide, homicide, and accidental. You can rule out suicide. He would not be able to say what the manner of death was. He has done 60,000 autopsies and supervised around the world. Recess State Cross, determining manner of death is considered outside of examining remains. He went to the place where remains were found and to the Anthony home. Was the answer to what info about this case was given to render the opinion he rendered on direct examination and given the autopsy report. Talked to Baez and Mason and the autopsy and the Anthony family for facts in the case. Read report about Caylee not being reported for 31 days. He knows Caylee was allegedly taken by babysitters. Asked if it's general practice to read police report and talk to the witness to make a determination of manner of death. Pool at the Anthony home, and a month the child was missing without calling police or anything he took into consideration when making his opinion. Jeff Ashton asked what protocol was violated by Dr. G's autopsy. The protocol, the skull is open when an individual had possible involvement, brain and skull, anything that would benefit a skull examination. Well, nothing would have benefited it, screwball. Where is the protocol published? There is no publication. I don't know where it's published. I have been trained and have trained. There is somewhere, quote, I was a member of the committee that made that document of what we should examine. I don't know what that's called. I've been out of the mainstream of administrative forensic pathology for some time now, unquote. Quote, to not open the head is a failure of the autopsy, end quote. His opinion, he said, you can ask any forensic pathologist that not opening the head is tell me that's a shoddy autopsy. He tells Jeff Ashton, I'm sorry, but you provoked it. And at this point, Casey's laughing. He said you can examine the head if you... Jeff Ashton asked him, you can examine the head, and you can examine the head. Had asked him about examining the head without opening. He repeats it this way. You can examine the head if you don't open the head, and Jeff Ashton said yes. Dr. Spitz responds, well, you'll have to show me how to do that then. Again, Casey smiling and laughing and covering up her face. He has given one interview with a local Orlando news station and one in a newspaper in Detroit, Michigan. Don't recall a lot of information about him being interviewed. He was involved in the Phil Spector and O.J. Simpson case. Asked, quote, when you opened the skull, you broke it, didn't you, Dr. Spitz? His response was, quote, I broke it? I didn't know I broke it, end quote. This seems like this gentleman, he may seem like he's smart or act like he's smart, but he has no consideration for Caylee. None whatsoever. And for the fact that he didn't even know her name. He did not do any chemical tests. His opinion that the duct tape was placed on the skull after skeletonized, say says whoever took the picture of the skull with hair mask put the hair there and said it wouldn't be the first time. Defense redirect, and that's that. End of day 22. This day really upsetted me. I just couldn't take it anymore with this gentleman's crap, with the defense's crap. I was just very disgusted on the manner it was handled. That's the end of day 22. Again, I will be back again to finish the update.